75 years ago, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights codified various rights, including the rights to remedy for a just, fair, and dignified society. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights continues to remain relevant to our life up till now, as it helps victims find solace in the arms of justice, signifies the restoration of one's dignity and security while promoting accountability and fostering lasting peace. Nepal demonstrated globally how to end an armed conflict through a peace agreement. The promulgation of the Constitution is another milestone in Nepal's peace and development process. At a time, colleagues, at a time when conflict and violence is plaguing the world, this is something to be celebrated and something Nepal and Nepalis need to be proud of. We underestimate what happened in Nepal. It is a role model. This is a place where people should come and learn about peace process. However, the commitment, as my colleagues before me and the speakers before me said, the commitment of the Peace Accord to investigate human rights violations and crimes against humanity is still outstanding, but I believe after just being few months in Nepal, it is doable, and yes, can do, and yes, I am sure will do. Last week, some ethnic groups celebrated Gai Jatra in loving memory of their family members who they lost. It must have been very difficult for families and the victims whose loved ones disappeared and have not returned home, and they never knew what happened to them. The pain endured by the ambiguity of whether their family members are alive or dead is harsh to bear all these years, with the pain that maybe they are alive somewhere, or what exactly happened to them. I have worked in Chechnya, I've worked in Syria, I've worked in Sri Lanka, and somehow families come sometimes to terms with death, but they never come to terms with disappearance. This is a human pain that we have to understand and respect. So the victims have the right to know, the right to justice and the right of reparation, and the state has the obligation to put in place guarantees of non-repetition. The UN works globally with the rights holder and the duty bearers to fully realize this right. Our experience shows, however, that transitional justice process that is informed by the experiences, needs, priorities, and participation of the victims' conflict and survivals it is only this that will bring transformative change in the society. Healing wounds of the conflict will facilitate reconciliation. So the collaboration between the government of Nepal, conflict victims, and the broader civil society to solicit views on the amendment of Transitional Justice Act is very encouraging. It is also important to ensure the commitment of a victim-centered approach. I am really pleased to see a recent shift in the discourse on transitional justice in Nepal, one that brought a more balanced emphasis on all four components, which are truth, justice, reparation, and guarantees of non-recurrence. This is a momentum we cannot and we should not lose. The initiative of the government to amend the Transitional Justice Act can support the implementation of the excellent recommendation and stand of the Supreme Court decision of 2015 and the realizations of Nepal international obligations. For the UN, as the guardian of international norms, standards, and established principles of laws and justice, we remain committed to support all the stakeholders to these principles. Adhering to international standards is a key. This is why the UN was made and established, and we need to all ensure that we continue to be committed to these standards. However, we do understand that transitional justice process has to be context-specific, one that is nationally owned, based, of course, on political and societal realities of each country. It has to be a Nepali-led process. My office is recreating a political space for collaboration on transitional justice. With the assistance of the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights, we are providing advisory notes to the government for the revision of the amendment bill. This is further aligned to the text with international norms and standards and the Supreme Court decisions, as well as, and equally important, to the aspirations and the rights of victims to seek truth, justice, and reparation. We know that the road that leads to this process is riddled with challenges. Of course, we know political interest, lack of resources, and persistent impunity can hinder the timely and effective delivery of justice. However, it is incumbent upon us to advocate for stronger cooperation between the different stakeholders, including the international community, increasing funding to victim support programs, and the creation of a conducive environment for justice to prevail. Ladies and gentlemen, we are really about, we read, as we say in sports, the finishing line. We are nearly there. We need all our strength in order to make Nepal the role model for a peace that is possible on earth. Deri Deri Dhanyabad, and I wish you the best of luck. Thank you.
This meeting is particularly relevant for us as our parliament is considering a transitional justice law that aims to reduce the sentence if the perpetrator cooperate the process by revealing truth, provide reparation to victim, and apologize for his or her wrongdoing. I would prefer to be here for the whole day and learn more about Colombian process. However, I have other commitment and obligation which does not allow me to do so. Nevertheless, I will be more than happy to receive the conclusion or if any feedback of this seminar. Before we discuss the sentencing policy in the context of the transitional justice, we need to consider the nature and context of the conflict and its impact on establishing democracy and ensuring social transformation. The new constitution itself is the product of the peace agreement which incorporates almost all human rights enshrined in international human rights law. The immediate enforceability of the economic, social, and cultural right in the Constitution can be marked as the major achievement which was a key agenda of the conflict. The above-mentioned constitutional promises were only possible because of the people's movement and people's war. Secondly, we successfully integrated the former combatants to the Nepal army and in the Nepalese society. However, we are yet to address the past human rights violations. In this regard, I would like to reaffirm the government of Nepal's commitment to establish a credible transitional justice process in order to seek the truth, provide reparation to the victims, and bring perpetrators of serious human rights violations to the justice so that we move toward establishing reconciliation in the society. In this endeavor, we will be guided by the comprehensive peace accord and the directives of the Supreme Court of Nepal and relevant international commitment as well as the concern of the victims. For this purpose, after conducting nationwide consultation with the relevant stakeholders, including the victims, amendment of the Enforced Disappearance and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission Act 2014 was tabled in the Parliament in July 2022. Because of the expiry of the tenure of the Parliament, the bill could not be passed. After the commencement of the new Parliament, the bill has been registered with some reform and now is under consideration in the parliamentary committees. We hope that the committee will resolve some of the issues that have been raised by some stakeholders. This amendment opens a space for the development of a comprehensive and coherent transitional justice strategy that will allow Nepal to achieve both the greatest possible satisfaction of the rights of the victims and the transition to the stable and lasting peace. To this end, we need a strong support from all walks of society, including victims, civil society, political party, and international community as well. I believe that the proposed reduction in sentencing will allow the perpetrators to come forward and tell the truth so that we could document it and archive so as to ensure the non-recurrence of this incident in future. Finally, I will be looking forward to the outcome of this program. I hope the contribution of the experts and the participants would help us to further enhance our ongoing transitional justice process. We are really ready to revise and promote the bill according to the genuine suggestion of the stakeholder. I thank you for your kind attention. Thank you very much.